So, I'm a preacher's wife, and a lot of times I have to make something really easy, really fast for a potluck, because we're Methodists and we love our potlucks. So today I'm going to teach you how to make homemade chicken strips, because we all know that the chicken nuggets at the restaurants, you never know what's in those things. So I like to make these at home. My husband, in fact, is in another room salivating, waiting for me to finish these so he can try them. And my kids absolutely love them. They can't get enough.
Yum!
Alright, so the first thing that I usually do is I try and get my breading done. So for my breading, I'm going to take my cornflakes, and it requires 2 cups of cornflakes. I like these containers because you can just scoop right in there and get it. So we get 2 cups of cornflakes in here. You can use any kind of cornflakes. Some people will use like the honey nut cornflakes and stuff, but I like just the plain stuff. I think it brings out the other seasoning a lot better. And then we add in there 1 cup of breadcrumbs. So give or take a little bit. Sometimes I measure this stuff, sometimes I just throw it in there. Depends on how fast I need to make it. Now, I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of Montreal steak seasoning. This stuff is so good. I put it on everything. I put it on potatoes. And that's a lot more than what I anticipated, but we're going to stick that in there anyway, because it is really good, and I don't think you can really go wrong with it. Then we're going to put 1 tablespoon of poultry seasoning. This stuff, I didn't know if I would like it, but it actually is a really, really good seasoning for chicken. I guess hence the name poultry seasoning. Now if I can get it out. This stuff packs together like brown sugar. And then 1 tablespoon of paprika. And this stuff is awesome. You find this, you find a lot of this stuff in your Tex-Mex kinds of foods. And then we're going to put about 1/4 of a cup, and kind of eyeball it, but I'm going to measure it for posterity's sake here. About 1/4 of a cup of olive oil. So we pour that in. And this stuff, this breading is absolutely amazing. And the cool thing about this breading is you can make it up ahead of time, and you can just stick it in a container and you're good. That's the end of my measuring. So what I do, I use my handy dandy food processor here. And we just combine. I always test it first, make sure I didn't forget to add something, or oh, yummy. Alright, so I always take this and I stick it in a bowl, and you can cover this and you can keep it for days. The next step is to prepare your eggs. Basically, you just put 3 eggs, splash of milk, a little bit of salt and pepper. Now they say to put this on the chicken. I always put it on the egg. I don't know why. I think it's partially because I don't like to touch chicken any more than I have to. So I just stick some salt and pepper in there and mix that up really good. You can put anything in here. I know people who put hot sauce in it if you want a little bit of kick. Alright, and so we'll set that aside. The next step is your chicken. Now you want to do your chicken the morning of the potluck or right before you're ready to cook it. So what I do is I take some flour, and I started out putting it in a bowl and it just doesn't work as well. So I put it in a Ziploc bag, just enough to coat the chicken, and then I go to slice the chicken. Now there's a trick to this. You take the fat part and you put it in your left hand, and then when you're cutting your strips, you want to angle your knife so that it kind of matches up with the edge of the chicken. Now there's a whole bunch of different ways you can cut the chicken. I have a son who will only eat them if they are in squares. I have a daughter who will eat anything that's not nailed down. You can even coat an entire chicken breast. It's up to you how you want to do it. So I usually do strips and then a few chicken nuggets for my son. But he's at school right now, so we're just going to do strips today. And then you just cut them. Oh, there's some delicious varmint here. So then you take it and you put it in the flour mixture. And you're going to do that for all of the chickens. Remember, the fat part goes in the left hand, and then you cut along the edge of the chicken. Makes very beautiful chicken tenders. Here we go again. Usually, I have a family of 4, and usually I will use 3 chicken breasts to feed all 4 of us. And what's really great is that this is like one of the few meals that everybody likes and everybody eats. So there's never any leftovers. Alright, so you take it and then you just shake it. So we coat the chicken, and then we get rid of the nasty board. Just throw it all in the sink to be washed for later. And then I set up my assembly area. So I want my chicken on my left, then my egg mixture, then my breading, and then my cookie sheets. And you don't have to grease these cookie sheets. Okay, so here's a trick that I've learned, because your hands get really nasty. Your left hand should only touch the flour, because if you, the flour and the egg, because if you do the flour, the egg, and the breading, then all of a sudden you have these mutant fingers and you have to stop and wash your hands like 50 times a day. So all you do is you stick it down in the egg mixture. The flour helps the egg to stick. And then make sure it's well coated. You stick it in your breading. Make sure it gets covered really well. And I broke my first rule, and I stuck my nasty hand down in my breading, but it'll work. And then you take your breading, your breaded chicken, and you stick it on here. Now be really careful, because they already look cooked. And I've had one of my kids walk up and just grab one off of the cookie sheet and try and take a bite, and thankfully I caught her in time. But the great thing about this technique is most chicken tenders are fried, and these are so much better for you. So we just keep doing that over and over and over again. And stick it on our cookie sheet. Look at these beautiful chicken tenders. So what we're going to do is put it in our oven set for 425, and I'm hoping I can fit both of them in. I will have to switch these partway through just to make sure that they don't burn. But then they go in for about 15 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer. Hey Siri, set timer for 15 minutes.
Okay, 15 minutes and counting.
Got a little technology. And we wait. While those things are cooking, it's best to use that time to clean up your mess. And here's a trick that I found really, really works. You know this wonderful Ziploc bag? Take all of your leftover egg and your leftover breading, because you don't want to reuse that, that's nasty. And you put it in this bag, zip it up, and throw it in the garbage. And it doesn't make a mess in your kitchen. Woohoo! And that looks done. So this pan is done. The other one needs a little bit. So this is what they look like cooked. They don't look a whole lot different. I'll leave that one in there for a couple minutes. And that is how you make homemade chicken tenders. And it is a fun and easy recipe that you can do with your kids. Kids love it. And you can also do if you need to take a quick meal.